What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my best friends and co-hosts, Joey Wright and John Luke Garofalo. And joining us today is another one of our great friends and one of the great statisticians on Twitter. We've got Munder Difflin FF, aka Scott Rinear, here with us. Scott, what's up, my friend?
Not much. Just checking to make sure I still have a nut sack.
Is it there?
With all the mathing.
Okay.
All the math.
I'm
We did it. Yeah.
wildly impressed that you're able to pull off that much math and retain your manhood.
Yes,
It's
yes.
unbelievable, Scott. Guys, if you are not following Scott, you need to fix that right now. You can find him on Twitter at Munder Difflin FF, as I previously stated. And you're also going to want to check him out on Patreon at it's Munder Difflin there as well, right? Munder Difflin with an underscore in there. I mentioned the stats that he's putting out, but Scott, you want to tell us a little bit about the kind of data that you're dumping on your Patreon every week for your subscribers?
Yeah, so I do this thing I call it a team data one-stop shop. I started doing it a couple of years ago. It does take a fair amount of manual entry from just the game logs by me, but I have it set up to talk to a bunch of different spreadsheets where I get, basically by Monday morning, so it's Monday night game not included, but by Monday morning I have, target shares, fantasy points allowed, all the basic stats, touchdowns, rushing yards, all that kind of thing. And then it populates a bunch of different things, and it's what I use as the basis for my fantasy points allowed rankings that I do, and I put those on. And it's been pretty cool development this year. I actually have an article series with Rotoballer using what I've just been putting on Patreon for a few years in an actual article format, which is great because that's something I never really did. I would be like, here you go, but I wouldn't really provide much in the way of takes and analysis on it. But now I get to nerd out on that. So it's super cool. It's a super cool little connection of worlds.
Absolutely. Guys, it is no lie whenever Scott puts a lot of time and effort into these spreadsheets, and the data in there is unbelievably valuable. Check out his work over at Rotoballer, and you can find him at IBT Media as well. We love that whole squad over there. We got Craig in the chat stopping by with some stats for our statistician, saying Scott is a member of the FYF DDAC Club, the Front Yard Fantasy Double-Digit Appearance Club, on for his 14th appearance and playing in his 9th game. He has not yet played Quotey McQuoteFace.
I don't like the abbreviation for Quotey McQuoteFace. It makes me uncomfortable. Do you like it?
Yeah, QMQF. Oh,
it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know.
It feels like like the acronym for some conspiracy theory group.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like my aunt's gonna text me about her QF beliefs here, and like
I feel like every
I have to turn my phone off so my brain doesn't get scrambled.
A conspiracy group.
If not, there's a lot of words. We could make them sound like one.
There's also another club I was rumored to be a founding member of that has finally come to fruition, and that's the Cole Komet Club.
The Cole Komet Club.
We did it.
Isn't it?
I was thinking about that last night while watching the game. I was just like, dang,
like when he
we used to be in the Twitter chat with him.
Hey, remember when we irrationally thought he'd be good 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Formed a club.
I guess this is as good as time of any to bring up the Bears game from last night. This is now 2 games in a row. We've seen Justin Fields perform well. DJ Moore has had a couple good games in a row. 3 games in a row with a touchdown. 1, and then 3. I'm pretty sure he's out of touchdowns for the year. 4 is usually his cap.
Insane.
But Cole Komet showing out too. Scott, I'll throw this to you first. Can we expect more of this from the Bears as the season progresses, or is this a 2-game fluke after the first 3 weeks?
I mean, it's hard to tell because, the first game that they ended up blowing to the Broncos, you could just, if you wanted to, you could just chalk that up to like, wow, the Broncos are like one of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL. Washington, I think they're not quite as good on defense as a lot of people thought. I had them as like one of the top DST streamers last week, and that crashed and burned, but they're better than the Broncos. So, I mean, regardless of whether this is sustainable, it looks a whole lot better than it did a couple of weeks ago for everybody on that team. I mean, DJ Moore had a Calvin Johnson game last night.
Oh my God.
I mean, that was nuts. So I'm excited because, I mean, like Fields just seems like one of those guys where like as soon as he underperforms, the vultures just pounce on the I told you so's, he sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody, I was thinking about it last night. It's like Thursday night football. So it's like there's a long stretch of days where the haters have to deal with the fact that Fields put up another monster day. So, I mean, it seems like maybe they're just kind of letting him do his thing a little bit more. I mean, that's not very quantitative, but somebody tweeted out that like the coach had said, oh yeah, we decided to do some designed runs with him this week. It's like, oh really? Some designed Justin Fields,
the guy who had 1,100 rushing yards last season as a quarterback. You decided to do some designed runs for.
I think it's really sustainable.
It's exciting,
especially over the next 3 weeks. He gets the Chargers and the Vikings 2 out of the next 3 weeks. Like I said earlier this week, I was on a show with our good friend Dave Kluge, where it's just juicy matchups for him for the next few weeks. And last night proved it. It wasn't even one of the ones I was most excited about, but I thought he could be good. But holy cow, Justin Fields looked good last night.
My fiance's been a little upset with me because her 2 work leagues have not started out so hot, but both of them have the Justin Fields DJ Moore stack, and we were celebrating last night. I was finally in good graces.
Did you guys see started rough? Did you? Because he's a Bears fan, a well-known. Did you see his tweet today?
No, I did not.
October 3rd.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's that meme tweet where it's like, here's a list of teams that have won a game since sometime in 2022, and the Bears are the only team on the outside of the bubble. So he swapped it, and he's like, you know, circle your team if they've won since October 3rd, and the Bears are the only one that have won. So,
shout out Bears! Shout out Bears!
I thought it was good. Bears fans need a break.
He's been off the rails today. Like I turned my phone off. It's just been unbearable.
Good.
Like, I thought I was going to be bad today. Like I can't even talk.
To Bears fans everywhere, you've earned it. We got Albert in the chat stopping by with hello everyone. What's up, Albert? Scamper saying happy Friday, FIF. Now with Scott. Indeed, now with Scott. Oh. Dustin in here with hashtag Team Joey.
I'm gonna win.
Dame stopping by with F and FYF Friday. Let's effing go, Scott.
Oh, it's so much different now that I've actually met and hung out with Dame. It's awesome.
It's even better.
There's a lot of F's in there.
Also, Damon, you're saying so happy my home league opponent had DJ Moore on his bench and started Washington defense and Brian Robinson Jr.
All right, Dame.
Oof.
Yeah, that one hurts all weekend.
I have one team with DJ Moore, and it's like I mean, I pay attention as much as I can, but I scrambled about halftime last night. I was like, oh my god, did I leave him on my bench? And I went and had that moment where you pull up your rod. I was like, oh, thank God.
I had like a special, some sort of feeling. It was like 8 o'clock, sitting there waiting for my dinner. And I'm like setting my lineups, making sure there's nobody out. I'm like, man, first I took DJ Moore and Justin Fields out, but just got a feeling, threw him back in. Yep. Very happy about that.
Yes, nice. Something in the air.
We love those feelings. We had a question in here from Grim Fan before we start the show. He said, first things first, I'm the realist. But then he said, I'm done playing Washington's defense all season. -1 points against the Bears. But here's the question he's got. Should he accept a trade and get Kamara and DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Palmer? But what are you giving up? Oh, get Kamara for DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Palmer. That makes more sense than just getting all 3 players. Joe, are you making this move?
If you're okay at wide receiver, I'm okay with this move. I would, out of those 3 players, I'd rather have Kamara rest of the season. I do realize D-Hop and Josh Palmer together, there's some value there, but if you're fine at wide receiver, I'm okay accepting this trade.
John Luke, what about you? You feeling all right about this one?
I'd stick with Kamara.
Getting the Kamara side on this one. Scott, what about you?
Yeah. For me, it's a little bit more of a no-brainer. I mean, I think Kamara, he's got a path to a lot of volume right in front of him. They kind of held tryouts while he was suspended and didn't go very well. So, and then it was ridiculous. It was such a ridiculous game for the Saints, but he did get like 13 catches for like 1.5 yards a catch.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have him. D-Hop, I mean, like, obviously I'm not dropping him, but it hasn't, I mean, it's kind of been as advertised. Like, it's like he's going to Tennessee. It's going to be different. And I remember I was like, no, it's D-Hop. It's D-Hop. But it's not been great.
I was with you, Scott. I think doing that exact move the entire time. Like, D-Hop can do it with Savage. D-Hop can do it with Tannehill. D-Hop's done it with the worst quarterbacks in the league.
I think you just quoted yourself.
I did. Direct quote. Grim Fan, we like the Kamara side of this one. Yeah, you get a point.
That was
John. Yep. That was the warm-up round.
Yeah.
You did it without the multiple choice, even revealed. Well, JL, with that nice little segue, we are going to head into our game for today. The game is called Quotey McQuoteFace, and if you have never played with us, this is a game of NFL quote identification. We have 12 quotes from around the league. They could have been said by players, analysts, coaches. but each time we're going to ask you a little bit more about it. In the first round, we're going to give you a quote and then multiple choice answers on who said it. You tell us who said it on your turn. You're going to get 1 point for that. In round 2, there's no more multiple choice. There's some fill in the blanks, though. We'll give you the majority of a quote. We'll tell you who said it, but there's going to be a player name or a team name, some information missing from this quote. You fill in that blank, you're going to get 2 points for that. This will also be in turn order. Now, in round 3, there is no more turn order. We're going to have 3 final quotes. These quotes will be given to you anonymously. If you can buzz in by saying your name and tell us who said it, you are going to get 2 points. So there are 6 points available there in the final round if you get all 3 of them. Whoever's got the most points at the end of Quotey McQuoteFace is our QMQF champion for the day.
I don't want to be that.
Although
it does sound like a wrestling federation, so now I'm in on it.
QMQF. It's in the game.
Put it on a belt.
I think every company should be allowed to use EA Sports slogan. It just works too well after most company names. Red Robin. It's in the game.
In the game.
Worse.
Burger King.
There.
All right, well, guys, I'm going to pull up this first quote. Before I do, though, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our friend Scott, you need to go and remedy that right now. You can find him on Twitter at MunderDiflinFF. After you do that, head on back over here wherever you're watching the show at Front Yard Fantasy or the Better Sports Network YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, and the little notification bell is the easiest way to make sure you don't miss us live every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're looking for some Week 5 betting tips, the Week 5 betting preview is on next after this on the Better Sports Network YouTube channel. Check out Better Sports Betting with Dan Servadidio and Howard Bender. That's coming up right after this at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Better Sports Network. With that being said, Scott, since you are our guest, the quotes are already in a predetermined order. I'm going to ask you if you want to go first, second, or third in this game today.
I'll go first, even though I'm distracted by Joey's private chat.
Joey's being naughty in the private chat. Scott's going to go first. Joey, since JL is not here, I'm going to let you decide if you want to go second or third. Second for Joey.
No,
Scott up first.
I want to go third.
Okay.
And that way, if JL's not here, he loses points automatically.
Luke is in the middle. Joey is going to go at the end of today's game. See who comes out on top. All right, Scott, without further ado, let's get this first quote up on the screen for you. I'm going to read it for you, give you the options. You tell me who said it from the options listed. You're going to get the points.
Okay.
Here it is. We're going to watch the tape. We'll look at what we need to do better. It starts at the top. We've got to be better, and that part is on me. Then we got to make sure we're put in a position to be successful on Washington's poor performance Thursday night. Was this Ron Rivera, Sam Howell, or Eric Bieniemy?
I can't tell if it's trying to no, I'm just going to go with Ron Rivera.
Final answer?
Yeah.
This is, in fact, Ron Rivera at the tippy top.
Well, I know a lot of times on game shows, it's like there's tricks thrown into trivia questions, but this is just a quote, so there's no tricks. I mean, maybe there will be.
I don't know.
The whole it starts at the top with me. It's okay, it's got to be him. So anyway,
I think
Scott,
I got the same watch.
This Commanders team, I was a little bit excited for Sam Howell in the preseason, and now I don't know how to feel because some weeks it feels like the player that I thought I was going to get is out there. Last night, if you started him, you were fairly happy. But then other weeks, literally unstartable in all formats. How are you feeling about Sam Howell leading this Washington offense for fantasy?
I mean, he's kind of turning into a little bit of a modern day Blake Bortles in a way. I mean, he had a really, really, really bad game against Buffalo. I think he had 3 or 4 picks. Just an atrocious fantasy day. But since then, I mean, especially last night, and I, in my matchmaker article, I was like, Sam Howell, good QB streamer, and the first half went by, and I was like, oh, awesome, my first call is off for the week. But then, I mean, garbage time counts.
The second half.
And he almost threw for 400 yards, and the game before he was over 20 fantasy points. So I mean, I'm not excited about him if I'm, on the NFL side of things as much, but I mean, he's risky, he's volatile, but he can get you some points on the ground. If last night's any indication, they could be in some fair amount of negative game scripts
Yeah.
that will require all
The
that
Bears put him
passing.
in one.
I mean, the thing is at the end of the day, like, his peripherals, like yards per attempt and all that kind of thing were terrible. But I mean, 388 yards and multiple touchdown passes, I don't really care from a fantasy football standpoint.
He seems like the kind of player who has a nutsack. He's not so worried about those damn numbers. He's just out there playing with his balls, getting it done on the football field.
Just all over the field.
Some manly football from Sam Howell. That's 1 point for Scott there. Before we move on to our next one, we had a question from Dustin.
Hey,
he
Dustin.
wanted to know, he said, I traded Ayuk and Ridley for Barkley and Shaheed in standard redraft, so no PPR. His running backs on his team are Eckler, Gainwell, Roschon, and Charbonnet. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Flowers, Sutton, and Dobbs. John Luke, how do you feel about this trade, trading away Ayuk and Ridley to receive Saquon Barkley and Rashid Shaheed?
Just keep Ayuk and Ridley, I think. There's too much risk you're taking on.
You like the Ayuk and Ridley side there. Joey, what about you?
I hated the trade, and then he gave me the context, and I was okay with it because his running backs are really in trouble. Where I think he's got great depth of his wide receivers. So, like, in a vacuum, I do not like your trade, Dustin. I'm upset that you made it. And then you gave me the context, and I'm like, Dustin, we're friends again.
So this is a good point. If you're asking us a trade question or a waiver wire question or things like that, some context really helps us make sure we can answer it fully for you there. All right. Well, Scott, you got 1 point here, an early lead. But John Luke, it is your turn for your quote. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's do this. Yeah, I'm sleeping like a baby. Every 2 hours, I wake up and cry and go to the bathroom, and I try and go back and get some more sleep. I'm preparing to play the Dolphins. Is this A, Wink Martindale, B, Brian Dable, or C, Daniel Dimes?
Ooh. Go to the bathroom and try to go back and get some more sleep. I can't tell what he's actually saying here. Is he saying that he's sleeping well or poorly? Because you say you're sleeping like a baby, it sounds like you're sleeping great.
But he's kind of literally saying, I'm sleeping like a baby, and then
That's
joke
how
is,
babies sleep.
a baby sleeps terribly. Yeah.
And try and go back and get some more sleep. Interesting. All right. Well, I'll go with let's go with Martindale. Wink Martindale.
Wink Martindale is absolutely correct, Jail. One look at that face, and that's the kind of
confusing like that.
Every time I see him on the sideline, he seems like a character in a movie.
Because I am a big baby.
John Luke, are you seeing any reason for optimism for this Giants offense at all? It's been really concerning. The offensive line looks like they've been hired by Eagles fans to take out Daniel Jones. But Saquon Barkley's coming back. Maybe there's room for more fantasy production down the road.
It's going to be tough without an offensive line. That's sort of the foundation of the entire offense. It's why Daniel Jones is just not able to really get much going. I don't think he's good enough to overcome that gap. I don't think I think most quarterbacks struggle when their offensive line is playing that poorly. We saw it from Tom Brady the season before. A bunch of quarterbacks.
Joey, are you worried about Saquon Barkley running behind this offensive line in such a what's a way to say this eloquently? Piss poor offense?
I am worried about every aspect of the Giants. I'm worried about Daniel Jones. I'm worried that if they can even get the ball moving, it might be my least favorite team in the NFL right now. I'm sorry, Jay. I hate to say that.
I think it's Jay's least favorite team in the NFL right now as well. Well, John Luke, that is going to earn you 1 point, bringing you tied with Scott at 1-1. And Joey, it is your turn. You ready for your first quote?
Yeah, real quick. Wink Martindale looks like my dad when he found out I owned an Elton John CD. Just like eternally disappointed. And,
just a little disappointed. It's my dad when he found out I didn't own a George Michael CD.
George Michael's the best, man.
Permanently disappointed in me. All right, Joey, here's your first quote. It's the best I've felt after a game. I'm optimistic for this week. The last couple of weeks we've gotten through without any serious setbacks, so just going to continue to get better in that way. Was this A, Bryce Young, B, Breece Hall, or C, Joe Burrow?
This is the best I felt after a game. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to go Breece Hall.
Final answer?
And I have no reason to say that. I just don't feel like it's Joe Burrow. He had a bad game last week. Go ahead.
Well, it is Joe Burrow, specifically talking about his health in that quote.
Well, nobody cares about your health. We just want you to score points. No, we do care about your health, Joe Burrow.
Yes, we do.
I think those two are pretty related. If I had to guess, his health and the points that he's scoring out there on the field probably tied together. Scott, I'm going to throw this one your way. Unfortunately, no points for Joey.
Sorry.
We're talking about Mr. Joe Burrow. Do you think better weeks are ahead for him, or is this an injury that could linger all season? There's also the talk of him potentially just being shut down entirely if the Bengals don't start picking it up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's multiple options on the table right now. I mean, I think they're probably looking back to the decision they made at the start of the season. And I mean, you know, would they have been any worse if they put him on the shelf, you know, for the short-term IR or the PUP list? Who knows? I mean, it's also one of those situations where it, you know, cliche, but it can't really get any worse than it has been for Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense. So, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, a player is not going to just air to the world. Oh no, I still feel really injured, guys. I'm really injured. He's not going to say that, but at the same time, like, I believe Joe when he says that it's the best he's felt after a game. So I think it's he's getting better. He's getting healthier. I don't know enough about the injury and medical aspects of it to know if this is something that can be played through and get back to 100%, or if they really need to shut him down. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Munder Difflin was MD because you're a doctor.
Oh,
what the hell, Scott?
You're right. That is true.
I don't know anything.
It's false advertising. True.
But I got my doctorate in archaeology, so it's not quite the same.
You're like Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
you have a whip.
That's the whole reason I did it. It was like we never got to that section. It was super boring.
Oh.
Herms doesn't care whether you're a medical doctor, an archaeology doctor. He's just hyped to see you up here. He says, "What up, FYF fam?" And also Scott. That's how I say it whenever Scott.
One of my favorite Simpsons moments was when Mo had the card that just said, I'm a surgeon."
Jay said, "Doctor of data dumps." The data dump doctor, Scott Rinear. Well, guys, unfortunately, no point for Joey on that one, but we are going to move on to our next quote here. Before we do that, Isaiah in here had a question for us. Wanted to know, with Amon-Ra St. Brown potentially being out, who do I get? So this is
someone good.
Someone good.
Yeah.
If you could give us an idea of who's on your bench that maybe you could plug in, and then who's on the waiver wire, we're going to have a little bit easier time helping you out here. But, Joey, are there any guys that maybe sitting on the waiver wire that come to mind?
If St. Brown's going to be out, definitely look for Josh Reynolds or Jameson Williams. I would prioritize Josh Reynolds because I don't know how much Jameson Williams is going to be involved week 1 that he's back. But Josh Reynolds has been really good when Amon-Ra St. Brown's been out. So I would look for him.
There you go, Isaiah.
And not Khalif Raymond.
Well, Scott,
I'll die on that hill.
We are back to you for your next quote. Still multiple choice. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. I'm open. I'm always effing open on being open. Was this AJ Brown, Waffle House, or Jamar Chase?
On being open.
That's the
I think that this was AJ Brown a few weeks ago when he was caught on camera, you know, kind of being upset, and everybody's like, "Oh, be a man." It's like, well, first of all, these guys are in their 20s. Second of all, like, AJ Brown's done nothing in his career to make anybody think he's some sort of diva. So it got blown out of proportion a little bit, but I would think this is something he might have said. So AJ Brown's final answer.
Please be Waffle House.
Unfortunately, this is Jamar Chase. After that last game, very frustrated. If you watch the game, he was open the entire time, but the Bengals weren't throwing the ball more than 10 to 15 yards down the field against the Titans at all. So unfortunately, no point for you on that one, Scott.
I guess I should have thought, like, you know, that Eagles thing was not is recent. I should have probably.
The Eagles one, we wouldn't have censored the F word because that would have been disrespectful to Philadelphian culture, I think.
That's true.
Censor out the F-bomb. Cincinnati doesn't care as much.
It's a good point.
John Luke, Jamar Chase has been underwhelming, probably in large part due to the injury we talked about to Joe Burrow before this. If Joe Burrow continues to struggle, how does that impact the ceiling for a player like Jamar Chase?
Badly.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's not good if your quarterback's struggling.
Yeah, no, it's going to be rough for him. Do you think he can overcome it? Is he a player that you're most concerned about in this Cincinnati offense?
Is he the one I'm most concerned about? No, it's Jamar Chase. This is the one I'm least concerned about here. We have to you have to just temper your expectations going like rest of the season until we get more news on Joe Burrow. He's not the type of player that's going to produce fantasy wise week in, week out without considering the quarterback.
Joey, if T. Higgins misses time, we've got the Joe Burrow injury there. Now it's looking like he's just questionable. Is there increased interest in Tyler Boyd as a starting option this week?
I picked him up in a bunch of leagues, and I'm starting him because we kind of mentioned, I think you and I on the show yesterday, Simon, if Joe Burrow can't throw far down the field, Tyler Boyd is going to probably be the most profitable receiver, or at least the most targeted in this offense. So I do like Tyler Boyd as a start this week against Arizona.
I see Scampers in here saying also Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Mac Hollins.
Well, I feel like with Chase, it's like emotionally, it's a roller coaster probably, but from a fantasy football standpoint, it's still very simple. I mean, you just start Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
like that. You don't have to think about it. I mean, it kind of sucks what's going on, but you don't have to go there. You don't have to get cute and be like, well, maybe I should bench him for Khalif Raymond, right, Joey?
Where's that line?
Bench him for Khalif Raymond.
Where's that line?
Khalif Raymond.
The line is Khalif Raymond. Anything above Raymond,
I'm gonna pull my rankings up. I'll tell you what my line is.
Yeah, that's a T-shirt. The line is Khalif Raymond.
I'm not sure I want to be part of that line. Jay down here saying, I'm so happy to have a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack in my home league.
I can't tell because it's in text. I think he's being sarcastic.
Maybe we'll have to get a doctor of internet sarcasm on here to help us.
Oh wait, that's what I'm a doctor of. That's
shoot, not data dumps.
My line is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Adams.
Okay, so that's
my line is still real high.
That's still like a tier 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, no, he's a wide receiver 6. It's Jamar Chase.
You start him no matter what.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to move on to John Luke's next quote here. Oh, and John Luke is gone. Whenever John Luke's back, we'll move on to John Luke's next quote. Jay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Maybe if I was a Swiftie, the ref wouldn't have thrown the flag on the controversial flag at the end of the Kansas City New York Jets game. Was this Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh, or Sauce Gardner?
No way Zach Wilson has the social credit to be able to say something like this. So I'm going to go with Sauce Gardner.
Final answer?
Yeah.
So it was absolutely Sauce Gardner, called for holding that let the Chiefs just run the clock out at the end of that game there. But the Jets looked all right. John Luke, you've been the biggest Zach Wilson cheerleader. I don't want to say proponent or saying that he was going to do it, but believer that he could, believer in the story. After this past week's game, are you buying into this is the next step in his development, or was this just a good game from Zach Wilson?
To go in there in a primetime game and perform the way that he did, even if he wasn't fully consistent, I think takes a lot. And shows a lot of growth for him. He's a player who struggled last year with all that pressure and all of that hatred coming at him. And here he was standing in the middle of that game, scoring, like throwing dimes. So yeah, I think it's a big step for him.
I'm with you, Jail. If this wasn't Zach Wilson, if we took the name off of it and just named the situation, a third-year quarterback who struggled in his first year on a team that traded for a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback and wasn't expecting to start the entire season, gets thrown in with no first-team reps in week 1, and then by week 4 puts together a good game, we would probably be buying into the narrative that it was him like stepping into this role or developing as a quarterback. But I think the name Zach Wilson sours our perspective on him. It makes us kind of take that context out of it and just say, oh, Zach Wilson sucks and likes moms.
Well, I think, because, as soon as he had a bad game once he took over, there was all the like, okay, well, which quarterback's available because they have to get a different quarterback. I think that talk is quieted, at least for now, by that performance.
There's not a whole army of people clamoring for Teddy Bridgewater.
I feel like we jumped to a different timeline at the start of this year as a planet or whatever, because when he came in, Zach Wilson almost beats the Chiefs. Jonnu Smith is the tight end 1 for the Falcons, which is just a cruel twist of a dagger.
And nobody.
I could keep going. There's been so many bizarre things that have happened.
It's just brutal. Well, John Luke, that's going to earn you an extra point and put you into the lead here with a score of 2-1 to 0 on that one. Nice job. Also, Scampers on here saying Sauce being saucy. And Herm said sauce with the saucy bits. You got to be a little saucy if your name is Sauce. We had a question in here from Chandler. Wants to know, should I trade away Kenneth Gainwell and Kelly Gainwell and Kelly for Brees Hall. Other running backs are Pollard, Etienne, and Connor. So, Jerry, would you be trading away Joshua Kelly and Kenneth Gainwell for Brees Hall?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Scott, I hear
You
you.
get Brees
whispering.
Hall?
Are you doing this, Scott?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was so on the yes side of this that it came out of my mouth.
The yes, just
hate when
seeping
that
out
happens.
of Scott's mouth.
Crazy.
I'm with you guys. This is a great trade. JL, you getting Brees in this one?
Get Brees.
Get Brees. All right, well, Joe, you got a slight lead. Joey can't catch you on this one, but he can close the gap a little bit. Joey, you ready for your next quote?
I'm ready to close the gap.
It is but a scratch, just a flesh wound on their injury sustained in week 4. Was this A, Kenny Pickett, B, Justin Herbert, or C, Devontae Adams?
This was Eric Idle from Monty Python and the Search of the Holy Grail. Thank you.
This was
No, it was probably
quoting.
Justin Herbert, I would say. He had the finger thingy going on. He had the weird little, like E.T. like
Final
the dip.
answer?
Yeah.
You are correct, Joey. And
There it is.
And there's his little finger thingy poking out like E.T. And they asked him, is it really a flesh wound? And he said, no, I'm just quoting that movie.
Oh, and by the way, as
And they were
as
like,
the
"Which movie?"
resident doctor on the show, that is what that's called. It's a finger thingy,
A
Finger
finger
thingy.
thingy.
just so you know.
The official term. I
That
thought I
is
knew that from
official.
somewhere.
I got a finger thingy before. Wasn't fun.
So,
Tell us about it. No.
My finger thingy was pretty fun. I think Coop had a finger thingy with him that he got at Dave and Buster's, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
It's true.
Carried
One
around.
time I
with him.
didn't. One time I didn't poop for 2 weeks and I had to go to a doctor and he did a finger thingy and I didn't like it.
yeah, that's where it comes from. That's where the official name comes from. Is that?
I thought the doctor was like gonna hand you a finger trap as like, here you go.
Well,
Come
I
back
wish
in a
that's-
week and let me know.
I wish that's what he would have done because he didn't tell me what he was going to do.
Did he hand activate your sphincter?
Simon.
It's a medical term. I use the medical term. That's a real thing doctors have to do that I learned about. All right. Well,
Activate.
yeah, mine's voice activated, so doctors never have to use their hands.
Mine's glad activated.
When I see you next week, I'm just going to yell in your butt.
Activate.
It's not working.
I only have one tuck, so be careful. Tim got this one right. It's Herbert. He only speaks in movie quotes. And Dustin wants to know, Joey, do you have that movie behind you?
Yep. 1 second.
It's back there, mixed
it's
in with the
back.
rest of his books. You should really
Oh my
separate your
God.
movies and your books, Joey, so you can find them a little bit easier.
Are you a library?
Yep.
Here's the library. Dale, while Joey's looking for Monty Python,
Where's your
how are you
card?
feeling about Keenan Allen the rest of the season? He's been, I don't want to say a surprise because he thought he was going to be good, but where he's sitting on the wide receiver leaderboard right now has got to be a little bit surprising. And now with Mike Williams out, do you think his ceiling remains like a top 3 kind of wide receiver in this Chargers offense?
Top 3 in the offense. I think he's the main guy in this offense, and I think he can keep producing that way. Justin Herbert in this Chargers offense is always, or at least since they've had Herbert, has been very pass heavy, and I expect that to continue now with Mike Williams out of there. What better player than Keenan Allen, all reliable, except for that one time with the kidney.
Yeah, just forget about that season though. Kidneys don't count. Herm's down here saying, as soon as Simon yelled, activate, my dog looked at my computer with a horrifying look.
Sounds like your dog joined QF.
Dogs have to go through that too. They have to.
That
true.
was the first DVD I ever bought.
QMQF?
No.
Oh,
Holy
Monty
Grail.
Python and the Holy Grail.
I think with dogs,
bud.
though, it's not called act. It's expressing with dogs.
Yes,
It's not
that's
activating.
Oh.
I spend
Yeah.
$300 for it every month.
Why can't my ass express itself?
JL doesn't have a dog.
And that is a deal, let me tell you.
It is cheaper if you get it done at the vet
Below market value.
than if you go to the actual doctor. All right. Well, I forget who
it's
got
Friday.
that one right.
I got it right. I got a point.
Joey got that one right, which means Joey gets a point, bringing it to 1 to 2 to 1. And we are moving into round 2 here. Round 2 is fill in the blank. Scott, we are on to your turn.
Let's go.
But before we do that, we have breaking news. Randy Gregory to the 49ers.
Okay.
And on to the next quote. Scott, here is your quote. The blank play. They talk about blank so much, but I saw 5 people just come free. Like, how is he supposed to make that read when he has 6 to 8 defensive linemen in his face? And this is Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons. What I want to know to you is, who is he talking about? It's the same name in both of those blanks.
I have no idea. Can I see the multiple choice options?
For a different question, sure. Does this help?
Herbert. No, okay. Big play. They talk about so I saw 5 people come for like how are we supposed to make that reading 60 face?
Is this when we get to steal?
Oh god, it's like it's somewhere in my brain. I don't think I'm gonna get it. So I'll probably just guess somebody. Who have they played? I'm just gonna go with something silly. The big cock Brock play.
Big cock Brock play.
I have no
Unfortunately, that is incorrect, Scott. John Luke, this will pass to you if you want to take a guess to try and steal the points here.
The blank play, they talk about blank so much.
And it is a player name, same name in both of those blanks.
But I saw 5 people just come free. Like, how is he supposed to make that read when he has 6 to 8 defensive linemen in his face? Let's go with Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons.
You think he's talking about himself here? Final answer?
Final answer.
Unfortunately, incorrect. Joey, do you have a guess here?
Is this the Jalen Hurts play? Like the tush push?
That is incorrect. The correct answer to this is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is getting all that hate, having 6 to 8 defensive linemen in his face at all times because of the offensive line. And Micah Parsons has this year just been talking nice about everybody. He's turning out to be like one of the nicest guys in the league.
He's got Danny Dimes back here. That's a little strange.
He went to bat for Zach Wilson earlier this week. Now he's going to bat for Daniel Jones. This dude is just out there going to bat.
He's also not wrong.
I was about to say, it's a valid point, though. Like, they do kind of focus on the Daniel Jones side of this, and we just talked about how a lot of that had to do with just his lack of time in the pocket. And the Cowboys were a part of that.
Because I saw somebody today, was it Coop? Anyway, the pick 6 to Witherspoon, which as a Seahawks fan was wonderful. Darren Waller was wide open in the end zone when he threw that. You know, and it's like when you're watching the replay in slow-mo, it's like, oh, he's right there. But I just feel like he probably didn't have time. He just didn't have time to see it, the route open up, and he made a quick decision. Because, I mean, that's the thing is like when you're facing that kind of like onslaught, play after play after play after play, I mean, you can't expect the quarterback to not get rid of it a little prematurely some of the time.
Yeah, start to get a little bit happy.
I mean, like 11 sacks. It was ridiculous. Like, that is crazy.
He's going to set the record this year if that line doesn't figure it out. Scamper's down here how to figure it out, giving you guys a clue saying he plays football against the opposing team's offenses. And then also Scamper's coming in with a nice visual for us saying, I just pictured the doctor waving his hand under Joey's butt like a bathroom faucet without success.
Yeah,
come on, these things never work.
Goes to the next butt to try that one. His is working. Why isn't this one working?
Well, I got the soap. Now I just need the water.
Why doesn't Joey's work?
All right. Well, unfortunately, no points for you on that one and no stolen points on that one either. We're going to move on to our next fill in the blank. John Luke, this one is for you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Hey, and Grim, I see your trade question. We're going to hit that right here. It's a start question after this next quote. The system and offense are too simple. It's the second time they've put up the 3 points from the big play blank. I'm a little concerned. And this is from terrible TV analyst Chris Sims. The moniker was given to him by our friend Jay Felicio. Chris Sims, I'm not expressing my opinion on you at this point in time. But John Luke, the big play blank, I'm a little concerned. What team fills in that blank?
Let's go with the Bengals.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct, JL. The big play Bengals. Chris Sims is a little concerned, and we've talked quite a bit about our concerns for the Bengals already this show, but that's going to earn you 2 points, John Luke, and give you a fairly commanding lead here. Nice job.
Let's go.
Our question from Grim Fan in here wanted to know Joe Mixon, James Cook, Kyron Williams, Javonte Williams / Jaleel McLaughlin start 2 full PPR. Scott, which 2 are you starting?
Let's see here. I think I am starting. I'm going to start Mixon. Never going to be sexy, but he gets the Cardinals, who've been pretty friendly to fantasy running backs, and he is just He's the guy that gets the ball for the Bengals. So probably going to start him. And then for me after that, I don't know if Javonte is playing. If he doesn't, I'm still not likely starting McLaughlin over the other two. So it's close for me between James Cook and Kyron Williams. So I would probably go with the better matchup, which is James Cook with Jacksonville. Kyron Williams gets the Eagles. So I think I'm going Mixon and Cook.
Mixon and Cook. John Luke, what about you? You agreeing with Scott here or going a different route? Oh, a little muted there.
Mixon and Cook, lock it in.
Cook it up. Joey, you going to make that 3 for Mixon and Cook?
I have Mixon and Cook both as top 12 running backs this week. So, yes.
And I'm starting Javonte and Jaleel McLaughlin, regardless of if either one of them plays this weekend.
Yeah,
but I would go with the other 3 people's advice if I were you, Grim fan. All right. Are we ready for our next quote?
Yep.
Joey, this one's coming to you. Your fill in the blank quote is blank is a dude, and the player saw it right away. He took the offensive line to the Bahamas during camp after final cuts to golf. He's spotted around town at dive bars with receivers. He's that guy. He's the man, and it's not fake. And this is from Bucks GM Jason Licht. I probably said that wrong. Joey, blank is a dude. Who is in there? Blank is a dude, and the player saw it right away. He took the offensive line to the Bahamas during camp.
Okay.
He spotted around town at dive bars with receivers. He's that guy. He's the man, and it's not fake.
Did Baker do this?
Is that
Baker's
your
got money. Yeah, I'll say Baker.
final answer?
Yeah.
This is, in fact, Baker Mayfield.
My quarterback.
He's winning the team over there in Tampa Bay.
Winning me over, too. No,
Joey, I know you weren't necessarily thrilled about Baker being the starting quarterback there for the Buccaneers now. How are you feeling about him now after 4 weeks and a surprisingly good start to his tenure as the Bucs starting QB?
He's had one good game, and he's had one great game, one good game, and then 2 like stinkers a little bit. But they're 3-1. Like, I can't really complain. I guess we're gonna win games this year. I'm gonna cheer for him to win the NFC South and then get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. But yeah, like I'm cool with Baker. I don't think he's the long-term solution for the Buccaneers. But as far as fantasy goes in Superflex leagues, he's definitely a bye-week replacement. And if the matchup's really good, you can play him.
Scamper says it's pronounced light. And Jay says he prefers my pronunciation of licked. Jason licked what? John Luke, what did Jason licked?
Yeah, but
that was whenever the automatic sensor was out of order. We had to put a different kind of sensor in there. All right. Well, guys, we're moving into our final round of quotes here. In this last round, there are no more multiple choice. There also is no more turn order. There are going to be 3 quotes, one at a time I'm going to put up there. They will be anonymous. If you can tell me who said it, you're going to earn 2 points. When you think you know it, buzz in by saying your own name. Whoever buzzes in first will get the opportunity to guess. You won't be able to guess again until both of your opponents have taken a shot or passed back to you.
Can we lose points?
There are no losing points by buzzing in. You just forego your chance to take another shot at it till your opponents have.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
Here's your first quote, and you can interrupt me. So if you think you know it, you do not have to wait until I'm done.
Okay.
It feels really good to be healthy. The main goal was to be healthy, to be able to do what I love, which is to play football. There's been a lot of things said and done, but at the end of the day, the number one goal for everybody was to get me healthy, and I think everybody was on the same page with that.
Joey.
Okay, Joey, who is this?
Cooper Kupp.
This was not Cooper Kupp, Joey.
No.
Scott.
Seems you guys.
Okay, Scott.
Is it Saquon?
This is not Saquon Barkley. John Luke, would you like to take a shot at this one?
Main goal was to be healthy, to be able to do it. Let's go with who's just healthy? Oh no. Let's go with Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler is incorrect. Everybody may buzz in again now if they would like to do so.
Joey.
Okay, Joey, you can take another shot.
I don't think he said this, but Jonathan Taylor, we heard from him for the first time, and he was not healthy.
This is Jonathan Taylor on returning from IR amid injury and trade talks.
The other part of the quotes, but we heard the more of was like, "I'm going to play for the Colts." That was this season. That would have made it easier. Yeah, that's why they didn't put that part up there.
Yeah.
Joey, if you've got Jonathan Taylor on your fantasy teams, are there any emotions besides joy that he's coming back? Like, is there any trepidation or worries about his fantasy output?
Nope. He
Nope.
said he's going to play for the Colts this season. I don't worry about next season right now for redraft. Week 1 rust, sure. After that, let's go.
Scott, are you
I'm
firing
fine
up
with
Jonathan
Taylor.
Taylor in
I
all
am.
formats the
I'm a
second
little
he's
sad
back?
for Zach Moss because he balled out the last couple games.
Yeah.
One of the only 100% RB opportunity guys this year. A couple weeks ago, so I feel a little bad for him just because he's been kind of he was hyped and then he sucked, and then he kind of became a joke, and then he had some success for a couple games. But no, I mean, yeah, this is good news. Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league. The running backs environment in the NFL right now is kind of crazy. So yeah,
It's been
all
brutal for
systems
fantasy.
go.
John Luke, are you holding on to Zach Moss if you rostered him in a league, or is this a point where you're cutting bait as we approach bye weeks and JT's back?
I'm not going to cut bait unless there's a better option out there to replace Zach Moss with. With Jonathan Taylor coming back, Jonathan Taylor is the main guy. So I would only expect Zach Moss to be useful if Jonathan Taylor gets injured or you're just desperate and need somebody to throw in. So I'm keeping him until there's a better waiver wire option.
So now he's in that very solid backup role, like the kind of backups like a Tajay Spears that we know if a player goes down, they're just going to fill in the work that the other player got.
Right.
Well, Joey, you took a nice lead there. Jumped ahead of JL 5-4-1, but we got 2 more quotes. Scott, get both of these. You can tie it with Joey for first place. John Luke, you can still pull ahead and claim sole ownership of first place here. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. We are also just now getting reference that Mr. Scamper said that Amon-Ra St. Brown has been downgraded to doubtful, not just questionable at this point. So start making other plans if you got him in your lineup. All right. Here is your next quote. Buzz in whenever you think you know who said it. Feel free to interrupt me. I am wrong for lashing out at the fans who are just as passionate and frustrated as I am. I let my frustrations in my play and desire to win get the best of me. I had no right to make light of anyone's job, and I deeply regret the things I said. We are working day in and day out to grow as a team, and this was an unnecessary distraction. I apologize.
God, I saw this too.
Scott,
who said this?
Was this Jamal Adams?
This was not Jamal Adams. That is a great guess, though. John Luke or Joey, any guesses here?
I guess I'm going to throw a guess in because I can't lose points. You had Sauce up here earlier. Didn't Sauce do something or no? Am I wrong?
Sauce is incorrect on this one.
Let's go with Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs is incorrect, but I like that answer, John Luke. I can see him saying this like tongue-in-cheek, being a little silly. Any other guesses? Anybody else want to buzz in, or are we passing on this one?
O'Reilly.
Auto Parts. Ow!
Was it Sean Payton? Joey, Sean Payton?
This was not Sean Payton, Joey.
After the loss, okay.
You guys calling it?
Yeah, I'm going to kick myself because I saw this.
The chat was all over this one. After calling Giants fans sheep for criticizing his play, offensive tackle Evan Neal came out and apologized for lashing out at the fans. I believe the quote was, "What are they doing? Flipping hamburgers?" and called them sheep as well for criticizing his play over the weekend.
Why is he behind a turnstile?
Because that's what that's just a picture of him in their last game.
Yeah, he should see
his 3 penises. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's what a tripod is. Mr. Scamper said Evan Neal in here. Got it right. Tim as well with Evan Neal. Albert knew it was Evan Neal as well. Nice job, guys, getting that one right. Well, we got one more left here. One last quote to finish us off. Buzz in when you think you know who said it. From an opportunity standpoint, there is no pitch count with him anymore.
Jail.
Scott buzzed in first. Scott, who said this?
Oh, God. Of course I buzz in and then I don't remember who it is. Come
on, Scott. I believe in you.
Bonkum.
No.
3,
no.
2.
Is it Jameson Williams?
This is not Jameson Williams.
Okay,
Okay, Jail, who said this?
Robert Saleh.
John Luke. Robert Saleh did say this on Breece Hall's early season.
I was going to say Breece Hall, which would have also been wrong.
Oh, Scott, with that, Joey was cheering for you because JL on the last quote jumped up out ahead of Joey 6-5 to secure the victory on that one. Congratulations, John Luke.
Thank you. QMQF.
QMQF champion John Luke Garofalo. Scott, thank you so much for coming and identifying some quotes with us and imparting us with your fantasy knowledge.
As you can see, I identified a lot of quotes with you guys. No, but that's a fun game. That's fun times. But no, man, you guys know I love coming on this show.
People say a lot of things around the NFL every week. There's hundreds of people saying hundreds of things, and we're just trying to find a couple interesting ones to talk about. Everybody watching, if you are not already following our friend Scott on Twitter, go and remedy that right now. You can find him on Twitter at MunderDifflinFF, and make sure you check out his Patreon as well at Munder_DifflinFF. And we love the whole team over there at IBT Media, so make sure that you're supporting not just Scott, but that whole team over there. Scott, thank you so much again. This was a joy.
It's always a pleasure.
John, Luke, and Joey, thank you to you guys as well. I just enjoy streaming with you every day.
Hey, this is my 2-year anniversary.
Happy 2-year anniversary, Joey, on DJ Moore
Rosie,
Friday.
Congratulations, too. Wow. Thanks, Rosie.
All right. Well, guys, that is going to be it for us. Not Sancho. No, Sancho is in here on the rare occasion. That's going to be it for us this Friday, everybody, and this week. We'll be back on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel in the meantime. Stick around on the Better Sports Network YouTube for better sports betting coming up next after this. Until Monday, though, we are out of here. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy some football. Adios, everyone.
We love you.